Okay, we going back to school? We not going back to school? Is it going to be online or is it going to be offline? Are teachers going to show up or are they not going to show up? Parents going to send their kids or they're not going to send their kids? Everybody's wondering. School's coming up. But I'm just going to tell you right now that everybody's focused on the wrong thing. If you recall back in when quarantine first started, I think on the second day of quarantine here in the United States, I did a video and I said the era of education as we know it, traditional school education, kids go to school, that whole institution, the whole system has been flipped on its backside within 48 hours when kids couldn't go to school because they had to finish their curriculum. So, okay, we're going to go online. It's going to fix it. Didn't fix it. And now so many months down the road, we're facing the same issue again. Why? Why do you face the same problem again? Because you didn't learn your lesson the first time? Has that ever happened to you? Am I the only one? Okay, well, this one may die hard, but right now, if you listen closely, what I'm going to do my best is because one of my core values is education and knowledge, and I've loved this. I've loved to learn all my life. I didn't like school that much, but I love to learn. Okay, and there's a way to learn. Okay, so if you're a teacher, if you're a trainer, if you're a leader, if you're a coach, listen closely because these 6 things could change everything for you and for your students. I mean, think about it. If you know the 7 things I'm going to show you, people are actually going to learn from you, number 1. Number 2, if you're a trainer, the demand for who you are and what you're going to do is go crazy because right now there's a huge void in the marketplace. Kids, adults, companies, all of that. You're going to have rave reviews, but I think the most important part of all is not that. It's the fact that even online, right through this camera, you can change somebody's life. Think about it. We've all had teachers at some level in our lives or mentors that did something somehow that changed our lives. Well, what if I could tell you there's a process for doing that? What if I could tell you that you can learn how to do that? Well, you can. So listen closely. I'm going to share with you how to do it because everybody thinks that technology is the answer. No, technology only accelerated and magnified the problem. Think about it like HD, right? Everybody thought, well, we're going to watch sports on HD now. It's going to be a really clear picture. But what does it do? Well, the problem with that is you can actually see the details. You can see the wrinkles and ugliness in people's faces. And so all of a sudden what you did is by improving the technology, you magnified the problems. Okay? The problem is knowing how to teach. Knowing how to teach. Look, the old system, a teacher was a preacher, a lecturer, and if you're a leader, you're making promises. And that style doesn't work anymore. What do you got to do? You got to serve, come from service, be willing to help other people, really teach and really facilitate. Now I'm going to explain that in a minute. I mean, right now in our tribe of trainers all over the world, we have people that are being asked by school systems to take over whole curriculums, even though they've never taught in school before. Why? Because our guys know how to teach. So whether you're on a camera or not on a camera, teaching is still teaching if you know what you're doing. It's the way you teach that's more important than what you're teaching. Okay? So here I'm going to run through these really quickly because I'm going to try to make this brief. Number 1 thing to understand is we've gone from classroom, we're now online. That's not going away. That's the way it is. So get used to it. Learn some basic technology, and we teach some of that stuff in some of our courses, but you got to learn it and just get over that you're not going to be doing it because you can't. And the good news is if you know how to teach, it doesn't matter whether you're on a Zoom call or whether you're in a room. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, most teachers and presenters are boring. Boring. That's the biggest problem of all. You have kids that, they go into a room, they feel like they've been drugged. They're dying in there. Zoom calls no different. The thing is they could pretend that they're watching you and they're not watching you and they're multitasking. And they're bombing your Zoom calls. Okay? So what's the answer? You can't be boring anymore. It requires energy. Energy. Say it with me. Say energy, but say it with some energy. Don't go energy. Energy, right? Look, 2 people come together and in a negotiation and discussions and sales, person with highest energy generally wins. You know that. If your kids have higher energy than yours, who wins? They do. So you got to have energy. You got to at least be able to match it and take it one level up. If you don't, then there are ways to do that too. I'm not going to spend the time and cover all that. We'll be here all day. Okay. Number three, your expectations at a teacher. Most expectation, most teachers, is they expect the students to listen, to read, remember, and regurgitate. I'll say it again. Listen, read, remember, regurgitate. It's the lowest form of retention is reading and listening. Lowest form of retention, unless you have some energy into it. So rather than that, you set your expectations that you want your students to respond, to discover, to experiment, to experience, ask questions, and to apply. Okay, it's a whole different frame. You may not teach as much data, but you're gonna have really smart students that are gonna want to learn more, and you're gonna change people's lives. I don't care what you're teaching. It's the way you're teaching is doing it. Okay? Number 3, is what you're teaching relevant or irrelevant? If it's irrelevant, make it relevant. Even if the material is like calculus, how do you make calculus relevant? Well, it's not about the calculus. It's about getting your brain to work, because certain parts of your brain work better than others. And if we know that you learn musical instruments, you do mathematics, these are kind of things you can develop. I'm making it up, but you know you're the expert, or become the expert. Make it relevant. Make it relevant to people.